Okay, so we're back with the second segment, and as you can see, we've lost the GoPro camera. The battery has gone down. Even though it was plugged in as a USB cable camera, the battery discharged faster than it could be charged while being used, which is to be expected, I think. So what we're doing here is we've had the Romans engage the Carthaginians. The Romans have had their initial move. They've moved forward, and the cavalry has got within one distance of the skirmisher unit, which has been pushed away. And that's what you're looking at here right now, is the cavalry in the center there, right here. Having reached that position, the skirmishers were here and got pushed back, and the cavalry took an incremental hit. That's what that little O-ring is for. And this is the reason why we changed that color too, by the way. You should be using any color, really, but the white color for an incremental hit stands out, and it really shows, especially in the ancient era, because a lot of the hits are incremental. They're gradual hits. They're not red combat hits like you'll get with horse and musket. So the rest of the unit has moved up astride that cavalry, including the Roman bow unit, which is over, get my pointer, which is over here, and the Roman bow unit has fired on the cavalry. Or actually, I'm sorry, is going to do that now. So it would be, in this era, automatic, color, and no other modifiers per se. The commander's presence does make it better, so it goes back to automatic hit. And that is going to be an incremental on the Celtic cavalry. So now, having done that, it is the Carthaginians' turn to do something. And the question is, what is his response? If it's nothing, then fine. It should also be noted that the Carthaginian phalanx unit is located right here. And that is going to be termed as heavy, whereas the Roman is not heavy, it's medium. What's the difference? Well, the difference is the behavior. The behavior of the phalanx is superior to the Roman medium infantry formation. It just is. It could be debated, but we're not going to debate that now. It's simply a +1 in combat, because we're going to call these heavy infantry, period. And the Romans will just be called, even if they're noted as being heavy, they actually are not. They are medium. So they're just one class less than the phalanx, heavy Carthaginian infantry. That's, relatively speaking, the Carthaginian heavy infantry was rare anyway. Or at least not that numerous, not rare. Okay, so in determining what to do, the Carthaginian commander, which is represented by this big stand back here, by the way, decides what to do. And if he chooses to advance, he can come right up and engage in a mass melee. Now, what would happen in that case? Well, there's some interesting nuances you can see right away, namely because of the fact that the presence of the Roman cavalry is right there. Now, you can't engage cavalry, right? They've already moved. They're standing still. Now, what's going to happen? This is why this is interesting again. We have a very small scenario here, but yet look what we're discovering. Some odd things. For instance, the Celtic cavalry, in the relation to the is in the opposite situation that the Romans were in. The Celtic cavalry is facing up against these skirmishers. Well, okay, cavalry is going to move. These skirmishers are practically invisible. They're not even there. So the right flank of this unit is technically open, isn't it? So exactly, after considering what to do, the Carthaginian commander says, okay, I'm going to go for it. So he goes up. Again, we stop right there, and we'll take our hit, okay? But there's a fear factor, so they have to pass their initiative, I should say tactical, and they don't do it. So they don't get their hit, and they run away. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the commander is there. We'll just push him back. Okay, now the Carthaginian cavalry continues and is going to flank this Roman infantry unit, isn't it? It can legally do that. It can, once it gets here, change its facing when it gets to the empty hex. And it's taking that unit in flank. Sure enough. Well, of course, we have the rest of the action going on. Okay, like this. And the Carthaginian commander comes up like this, as if he's necessary. But he might be, because this unit in the middle here is Libyan infantry, light infantry, facing off against, well, it's a mass melee. Is it? Well, it is. There's many units involved, and it's all in contact. So starting from the left here, we can look at the method of combat. The phalanx can fight the cavalry and the infantry. The infantry of the Carthaginians can fight this infantry and this cavalry, and this infantry can fight this infantry, as well as the cavalry can fight that infantry. But this is interesting. Why? This cavalry is here. They are not moving. Cavalry that's not moving is vulnerable. They're at a penalty. So the commander says, what can I react to this situation? Is it possible for me to pull the cavalry back? Because not moving, they're just standing there. Wouldn't they? No, because they've already made their move for the turn. That was it. In the I go, you go system, that's their maximum move. Does that mean they stop moving? Well, yeah. Because that's what he said. I'm going to move there and stop, and the skirmishers ran away. Well, this guy's now responding, and the cavalry's just standing there. They're not moving. If they were moving, they would have had to keep going. But they stopped. So the cavalry's just standing there, vulnerable. Cavalry that doesn't move is vulnerable. They're just like, chewing grass. So good Lord. What can he do? What can the commander? Well, the commander's not there for one thing. He's out of sphere. What can the cavalry do? Do they have any opportunities at all? Any chances at all? Can they move at all? Even in reaction or panic? The answer is no. There's nothing in the ruling that says you can move after you've moved. You have to fight. You committed to that action. And I suppose there's no other way around it. I don't see anything here that would indicate possibilities of getting out of there. So the phalanx is going to roll against the infantry and the cavalry. So the way that works is it'll be a 4 versus a 3, and then it'll be well, this is a little bit, if this was infantry, it'd be easier to calculate, but it's a separate unit. So let's just take it traditionally as you would against each combatant. So 4 versus 3 plus 1 goes to 5. No other mod. So they're up by 2. And we're just going to roll for melee. So the Carthaginians roll blue. The Romans roll blue. They both rolled blue. Then that means immediately they both take an incremental hit. So let's just do that. Follow the process here. Both take an incremental hit. But the Carthaginians are 2 points heavier. So they will get an additional incremental hit for every additional value. So that's 3. Which, unfortunately, 2 hits translates to a red hit. I'm sorry, I placed this wrong. I should have done it like this and like this. So 2 of these goes to a red hit. And there we are. Now, is it immediate resolution? Is there a routing going on, a routing situation? Nope, not yet. This is all incremental. This happens over a period of time. So now the phalanx is going to fight the cavalry. How does that work? Well, traditionally, in other words, without any optional rules, what happens is they are now at a -1 because they're fighting another unit. So they're 4 for heavy infantry versus cavalry that's not moving. They would be a 4, but now they're a 3. But these guys are now a 3. So it's 3 to 3. The odds are even, except for the fact there's a commander there. So they're up by 1 point. So 4 versus 3. Which gives them simply only a 1 incremental hit in the end after doing the die roll. So we're going to roll our CNC die virtually and see who rolls red and see who rolls blue. So this is for the Carthaginians, and this is for the Romans, and they both roll blue. So, as before, the Carthaginians cause 1 hit on the Romans, and because they both roll blue, the cavalry causes a hit on the phalanx. But because of the commander presence, or I should say 1 point higher, the cavalry suffers another incremental hit. Well, once again, 2 incremental hits equals red. Not a good thing. Oh, and I did make one slight miscalculation. The Roman unit here has a pre-melee ability with its pilum. And that will be an automatic hit, and we will have to check for commander kill. So the pilum is effective in causing an incremental hit, which causes these 2 to go to a red hit. And checking for commander kill is a CNC roll. And looking for a star, and it doesn't happen. So the commander survives it. This was all the damage caused by that 1 phalanx unit. So it has an incremental hit. It has a red casualty hit, and pretty much has damage 2 opposing units. Now, this is without any other combat happening. The light infantry now engages the cavalry. The light infantry is a 2 with commander presence 3. The cavalry is a 4, not moving, 3. So they are at even odds. So light infantry goes from 2 to 3, and because of the commander, and the cavalry goes to a 3. Why aren't we including the damage that was caused? Because it's all simultaneous. That damage is not going to be ahead of the time that the light infantry engages. So it's happening simultaneously. So, but because the cavalry is now fighting a second unit, it's going to have a deficit of 1. So that's going to go to a value of 2. So the light infantry plus 1, 3, cavalry at a 2, because it's fighting a second unit. Which means that the Carthaginians are up by 1. We're going to re-roll. First the Carthaginians, and then the Romans. The Romans rolled red. So they get lucky. Red always causes red. On this light infantry unit. And the Carthaginians cause a incremental hit, but they're up by 1, so they actually cause another one, which translates immediately to a red hit. So this Roman cavalry unit now has 2, and of course we're doing this very slowly so you can see the process here. That Roman cavalry now has 2 red hits plus an incremental hit. It's 1 incremental hit away from routing. Now, that would appear to be it. Let's move to the next unit, the light infantry Spaniards versus the medium infantry. So they are a 3. The Romans are a 4. There's no modifiers there, so they're at a -1 deficit. So we're going to re-roll. Romans rolling first. Carthaginians, they both rolled blue. So simple. Both rolling blue. Both cause an incremental hit, but the Romans are up by 1, causing an additional incremental, which immediately translates to a red hit. There's no other mods I can see. The Spaniards actually have pre-melee ability. Yes, it's going to cause an additional incremental hit, which is going to translate to a red hit. Okay, so the infantry, unfortunately, is being flanked. The Celtic cavalry is a 3 light cavalry mounted, and is flanking, so it gets double the casualties. And the flanked unit actually does not. Did we change that ruling? And that is the question. Do flanking units combat? I don't even think they do. I don't think they do, and we're going to go with that. So double the hits. They are a 3 fighting a 4. Flanking goes to 4, so they are 4 to 4. There's no fighting back. We just do the roll to see if the Carthaginians roll red, and they don't. So they cause an incremental hit, which is doubled, which goes to another red hit. So even though they're being flanked, this Roman unit here remains in place. It's not an automatic rout. It's just very heavy casualties. Oh, and I forgot to put the casualty. No, I didn't. I got it. There's a red hit right there. Okay. So in the end, in this little combat, the Romans have done well, but they are not doing that well against their situation, namely because that cavalry had already committed to doing what it was doing, and it's just standing there when the Carthaginians advanced. So that's the difference. And the Carthaginians have a commander in their ranks right behind those 2 units, and the Romans do not. Their commander was moved out of the way by the player to avoid being captured in the neighboring cell of that skirmisher unit that ran away. So it doesn't look good for the Romans, but it's like 60-40 possibility of actually holding out okay in the next round.